So, good morning, everybody. Philip Wade here from the Universal Studio in North Yorkshire in England. Just felt the call to do this impromptu live, and I've just realised my little banner's not on the screen, so I'm just going to put that on. Just bear me a moment whilst I find it. It's called The Root of Suffering. There you go. And I wanted to talk about that because this subject has come up quite a lot this week in various forms, and I felt it was worth addressing that directly so that we could really get to what is it that causes suffering in life, and what is it that takes us beyond that space into the realization of the eternal self or the eternal awareness. So, the root of suffering, it's actually very simple, and the root of suffering is belief. That's it. Belief. And the fundamental belief that is at the root of all beliefs actually is the belief in separation from that which you truly are. Separation consciousness. It's the belief that all you are is the body-mind, and that you're separate from the rest of the universe. All other beliefs, as far as spiritual self-realization is concerned, are subsets of that one mistaken belief. Now, this, from the human level, can be quite hard, or it may seem quite challenging to accept that this is the case, because you've been conditioned from a very early age into beliefs. And I've actually got a whole live stream which is called, and I'm going to post that up there now, it's called Beyond Belief, and it actually relates a true story about belief. And I'm not going to repeat that story now, I'm going to come at it from a different angle today. But it's a true story about the nature of belief and where it takes you, which is not only to suffering of yourself, but to suffering potentially of many, many other people. See, the thing about belief is that it's something that you haven't experienced. It is something that's outside of you, and it requires, therefore, the energy of belief. Belief itself needs to be believed in. And this belief, as I say, in separation from the universe, others, and so forth, creates suffering. The first step in that suffering is the separation consciousness between you and a universe that is infinite and actually an indivisible whole. And infinity cannot ultimately be divided, but it can appear and project itself into many and indeed infinite variety, but it cannot be anything separate from it. The whole universe is energy, and energy is neither created nor destroyed. That's a law in physics. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. So this energy is in constant communion and communication with itself, and is not separate from any part of itself. So the whole idea of belief in separation is fundamentally flawed right at the outset. But when you come at life from this idea of separation, you immediately create a polarity inside that creates the poles of fear and love. And the more that one believes in the separation, the more fear one experiences in life. And belief also then becomes at the root of the emotional body. Everybody has different levels of energy bodies, and one of them is the emotional body. And it is that emotional body which gets built up over time that is actually, when you get triggered by events, situations and so forth in life, it's that emotional body, that belief system that's being carried like a weight inside. It's that that's getting triggered, and it's that where the emotional reactions come from, and all of that also comes from belief. The belief in separation, the belief that all I am is the body-mind. The belief leads to ideas of my belief is superior to your belief, or my belief, in some cases, people might believe that their beliefs are inferior to others. This inferiority, superiority, we can treat others as separate from us and inhuman. All of this comes from belief. And all of the angst, all of the wars, all of the disputes and so forth that we see constantly in the world come from beliefs. And beliefs are limiting. They compress, they contract. And the truth of that which we all are, which is the infinite awareness, or the infinite silence, or the infinite consciousness. And the interesting thing about this is, in as far as spiritual self-realization is concerned, is actually you don't need to believe a single word I say about this. Absolutely none at all. It will make no difference whatsoever. I wouldn't encourage you to believe anything. Instead, there's an invitation for you to look within and be open to that which is already present and is unchanging, unmoving, untouched, unblemished, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, or infinite consciousness. Because as this, is realized, you will see that there's never been a time when you are not this. And there never will be a time when you are not that. And so it won't require the energy of belief, because it is, in fact, a realization. And that's why it's called self-realization. It is a realization of that which is eternal. And the self here is not a personal self. It's the infinite self, the isness of the entire universe. Infinite silence. So this is why I sometimes say truth is unbelievable. Let me say that again. Truth is unbelievable. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't require belief. That which you truly are is beyond before belief. And the realization of it is sometimes called the pathless path. And the reason spiritual self-realization and the whole of spirituality is ultimately a pathless path is because we, collectively, the entire universe, is already that which is being sought. So what is it then we replace belief with? Well, in truth, nothing. No thing. But the starting point, so to speak, on the journey is trust. And it's a trust in that which is already present. the infinite awareness or the infinite silence or the infinite consciousness. And it turns out the ultimate form of trust, the highest form of trust, is this. Listen carefully to this. The highest form of trust is not having to trust at all. The highest form of trust is not having to trust at all. It's a knowing, it's a realizing of that which is already present. But at the human level, we experience it as a journey, and that is completely and perfectly okay. Life intended itself to be that way. As I said in last week's live, the universe seeks to express and experience itself. One of the insights that emerged was, variety is my cause. It seeks to express itself, experience itself in infinite variety. I've seen the question coming up, by the way, Jolene. I'm going to get to it in a minute. There's just a few other things I wanted to say first. And it's through the expression, through all of the experiences in life, that we eventually, if we're prepared to look deeply enough, we will see that at the root of them all, the witnessing essence, presence, that sees all of the waves of life changing and moving and flowing, is in fact this infinite silence or infinite awareness. So if you go with belief, you will suffer. If you go with trust in the presence, you open yourself up to realization. And facing your beliefs and being open to the dissolution of your beliefs can be a challenging journey. And it in fact will bring up some of the triggers that I'm going to respond to in Robin's question shortly. It will bring up all of the emotional baggage for you to face, to witness and dissolve. But it'll only require trust in the infinite awareness to allow that to happen automatically. You have to be prepared to face the crap, face the celestial music, as I sometimes call it, and let all of these ideas and beliefs that you've had go. And not only that, let them go and let them dissolve, but actually there has to be effectively a total annihilation of not only belief, but belief in the concept of belief. You see, there's nothing outside of the universe, and you are not separate from it. All of this witnessing essence is within. And we are all that. So the root of suffering is, as I say, belief, and the opening to beyond belief is trust, to move you into the space that's beyond belief. So I'm going to look at Robin's question here that Jolene's posted. Can I elaborate on the triggers? Yeah, so everybody's experienced triggers in life, possibly fairly frequently. You know, an event unfolds or something happens, and suddenly, whilst one minute you were calm, next minute you're angry, upset or whatever by that. And it may appear, depending on how strong that trigger was, that you're not in control of that situation. What's actually happened there is that the emotional body that I referred to, that's been built up through life's experiences and the beliefs that we hold within our energy system, it's been challenged by what we'll perceive to be an external source, whether it is an event that's happened, somebody said something or somebody's done something, or maybe even a loss of somebody or whatever. There could be any number of causes for that. That carries a frequency that is consistent with one of the belief systems and the emotional energies that you're carrying, and suddenly that bursts to the surface to be seen. It's not there as a challenge, it's there as an invitation for you to feel that trigger, to watch that trigger, to accept it fully, but to simply witness it from the presence of infinite awareness or infinite silence. And in that way, it fully and automatically dissolves. And I have a whole live stream that's dedicated to this, and I'll post it in the comments. It's called Live Stream 11, Transmuting Fear into Love. That describes the process in depth with dealing with the triggers. And there's also a live stream to also take it further on Robin's question, called Being a Mirror to Truth. And I think from memory that one might be live stream 20. But anyway, again, I'll find that on my YouTube channel and I'll pop that in the comments. Live stream, that second one, Being a Mirror to Truth, describes the process of how the triggers are happening and how it's to do with what you're carrying inside and not the perceived event or other. And I should stress here at this point that this isn't about condoning the inappropriate behaviours and actions of others. It's about recognising what's going on inside. I can see another questions come up, so that's just a summary, and I will pop those two live streams on for Robin and anybody else who wants to look at them as well. Pam has a question. How do you cope with loss? I lost 2 loved ones this past year. How do we not get triggered by that? Does what you're talking about relate to this? Yes, it does, Pam. Yes, it does. And, you know, at the human level, feel deep compassion and love. If you lose a loved one, people that are close to us, whether it be people or even an animal, a pet, at the human level, that can be a very challenging experience. And, it's important to accept and embrace and have compassion towards that. But the route through that, and the key thing is to acknowledge and accept and embrace the emotions that arise there, Pam, not to run away from them, but to let them be, because they too are an invitation. And beyond them is a peace. Now, the reason it is a challenge for us that is actually to do with this same root belief I was talking about. You see, this belief in separation from the universe is the same belief that when a loved one passes over, their physical body passes over and so forth, that they are lost to us. They are gone forever, or so it appears at the human level. So it's the same belief that creates that experience as the pain of loss. So at the root of that is the same energy. But if we're open to the awareness that actually there is no separation, and that actually in truth what's happened there, although their physical form has clearly passed on, their essence as awareness and the expression of that awareness is not lost to the universe, and that actually we are both intrinsically and intimately connected with them always, then we can start to open and trust in this possibility, open to a deeper awareness, a deeper realization that actually, in truth, that which we're suffering from isn't actually, in truth, a loss of them, although that's what is experienced at the human level. What we've become identified with is them in the form, when in fact they are infinite awareness or infinite consciousness, and their body is one of the expressions of that. And actually quite a few people who have come to my events have actually come onto the path of spiritual self-realization as a result of this kind of loss. I can think of one person in particular. Who went in search of her daughter, but eventually opened up to this realization, because she eventually came to the awareness that although the physical body of her daughter had passed, actually, in truth, this energy of her daughter was not lost to the universe, and actually they were intrinsically and infinitely and intimately always connected. Just looking at Jolene's added, Pam's had a further comment here. I felt hurt but then angry. I'm guessing that's to do with the loss. Pam, if you want to clarify that. I'll take that as the starting point for now, that you felt hurt and then angry. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Every emotion that you experience is a messenger. It's a gift. Even though it feels, yes, to do with the loss. Thank you for clarifying that, Pam. Even though this sense of hurt and anger, let's face it, doesn't feel great in the body. One moment it wasn't there, and then it arises, and it can arise to quite a big crescendo, and it can hang around for quite some time. Now, the key thing here is to recognize that one moment it wasn't there, and then it arose. What was it? What was it that saw and witnessed that change? The movement from this space of calmness to hurt and anger. That was the witness, what I call the silent witness. And if one associates one's presence with that, and allow the feeling of the hurt and the anger to be fully accepted, fully embraced, fully felt, but simply watched without any judgment about you or your daughter, or I'm saying daughter, sorry, I'm referring to my other friend there, or who met the lost one, without any judgment about you or anybody involved, what you will see is a miracle will happen, is that the energy of that hurt and anger might be quite intense at first, but it will eventually dissolve effortlessly, because you're trusting in this infinite awareness. And I described this fully in live stream 11, Transmuting Fear into Love. This process that I'm describing there just now in brief, and it's discussed at length in live stream 11, and in sometime hopefully early next year we'll have a full DVD package which people will be able to access and purchase. But it's all there in live 11. It's just been updated and professionally filmed. Is the only ultimately tool, if you like, that you need. All the other tools, and there are many beautiful tools out there, are, should we say, expressions or subsets of awareness. This awareness is always untouched and unmoved and unblemished by whatever happens on life. It is infinitely powerful. It sees the arising and dissolution of all phenomena, all emotions, all things, and is untouched and unmoved by them. So this is the route through the anger, the hurt, the sense of loss. You see, those ones that have passed over are now seeing life from a deeper space of awareness, as their body has passed over, one of the first awarenesses that emerges is, oh my gosh, I'm not this body. Oh my gosh, I'm not this body. There is something beyond the physical life that is in fact eternal. There's actually endless cases of this reported by doctors in emergency rooms who have actually, people have been physically dead on the operating table for 20 minutes or more and have come back to life, and they've had these realizations, these out-of-body experiences. So your experience is, although painful, is okay. It's also a messenger to you, an invitation to you to look deeper. Pam saying, but these feelings are affecting me physically. They come in waves and I'm trying to calm them. Yeah, I can quite imagine that they are, Pam. This is, again, a common experience. The emotion and energy can be so strong, it will have physical impacts on you. And yes, it's quite normal for them to come in waves. You go on to say, I'm trying to calm them. And actually, within that, there is potentially something that's going to cause you to perpetuate them. Let me explain. Obviously, there's a wanting for them to calm down and be physically and emotionally comfortable. Interestingly and quite challengingly, and it needs to be said with all love and compassion, if we try to suppress them, let's say we try to suppress these feelings, these emotions, then all we will do is, it's like putting a lid on a pressure cooker. The pressure will build and build and build and build until eventually the lid will blow its top off. So the answer is not in suppressing them. I'm not suggesting that's what you're trying to do. I'm not sure, because I need to speak to you directly to discern this. Suppressing them is not the answer. Feeling them, accepting them, embracing them totally and utterly, without trying to hold back in any way, and not judging them, and just simply watching them effortlessly, which I describe at length in live stream 11. It is this that will help you move beyond them, Pam. This that will help you move beyond them. There are many other techniques and tools out there that you could use. For instance, emotional freedom techniques is one that I used to use in the past that can take the edge off these emotions and struggles. But if you're prepared to use the power of awareness, then this tool is the most powerful, because awareness is the energy of the universe. But it's a case of what you're ready for. So yes, as it stands at the moment, it is likely they will come in waves. And the reason that happens is because, as we take steps on the journey of trust, life will present us things in a way and in the space that we're ready for. And it can be quite a big challenge to face all of it in one go, and so it tends to come in waves. But if we try to suppress, we will just perpetuate. If we face, feel, embrace, accept, acknowledge, and simply witness without judgment, we will move through it. Do have a look at live stream 11, Pam. And also, I think it's live stream 20, being a mirror to truth. Live stream 11, transmuting fear into love. live stream. 20, I think it is, being a mirror to truth. It will help you with that process. I trust she understands. Good, okay. The thing to also embrace, Pam, is that it's okay. There's nothing wrong about what you're experiencing. It is here. It may not feel like it right now. I understand that completely and utterly. I've helped thousands of people with similar things. It may not feel like it right now, but it's actually an invitation to look deeper. And the ones that have passed over, if I can put it this way by way of a metaphor, are cheering you along from the other side, so to speak, of the veil to face and feel this. Because where their awareness is at now is at a deeper seeing than many of us experience in the physical. And they would like you to be at peace, if I can put it that way. And what I'm pointing at here, and you don't need to believe anything I say, is the way through that ultimately is always through the power of your awareness. So thank you for raising that, because these are questions that come up regularly, and the loss of loved ones is arguably one of the most challenging experiences we have. And going right back to the start of this stream, the root of all of that suffering comes from this single mistaken belief in separation, which manifests as I am this body-mind, when in fact, in truth, you are the infinite silence, the infinite consciousness, or the infinite universe. You are all of it. We truly are all one. And again, you don't need to believe me on that, as you trust and open to this fully and completely, and let all those beliefs dissolve and the belief in belief dissolve. It will be seen. It will be seen. It's inevitable. And this is the gift of this lifetime. You wonder why you are here in this body, in this form, in this life. On this stream right now, it is to realize this. What is the purpose of life? Life is its own purpose. Life is its own purpose and meaning, all wrapped into one. It is to realize this infinite silence, this infinite awareness. Experientially realize that. You see, the universe comes to know itself in its own experience. Variety is my cause, it said. It seeks to express itself in your form. That's how beautiful and important you are. What's Pam adding here? The loved ones she lost came back to her in a vivid dream, only once a few months after they passed. This also is very common, Pam. And that in itself is a message and invitation to show that although the physical form has passed, life has continued. You know, one of the insights that came as the realization flowered was this: life is death. And we could also say death is life. It's the death, actually, of the identification with the small self, the body-mind. See, the body-mind is something that you have, but it isn't that which you are. So when situations like this arise, Pam, people coming back to you in dreams, and dreams are part of consciousness, this is also saying, look deeper, there is much more to this than you can possibly conceive of from the space of mind. All of this I'm sharing here with, whether you want to call it wisdom or whatever, it might look like it's coming from Philip, but actually it's just a free-flowing expression of the infinite awareness that's within us all. There's nothing personal about it. All of this insight, all of this wisdom is here for all of us, all of the time. The choice is then, are you going to go with that inner knowing, or are you going to go with beliefs and suffer? That's the choice. If you go with belief, you will suffer. If you go with trusting the inner heart space, you open the pathway to realization and dissolving the suffering. Ultimately, it is seen to be so simple, and yet at the human level we will experience it as challenging, because the mind is clinging on, hanging on to its beliefs. And it does that because it actually fears death. It equates the dissolution of the identification with the physical death of the body, which is humanity's greatest fear. But actually it's just simply the death of the identification that happens. And that, trusting in that, is the pathway, the pathless pathway to the realization of peace. You do have to be prepared, though, to face the celestial music, because everybody has built up this emotional body, and that will act like a gravitational pull that will pull you back into suffering unless you're prepared to face that. And as that challenging as that may be, the benefit, so to speak, if I can call it, on the other side, is more than worth it. The peace, the stillness, the awareness, the silence. There is nothing greater than this. And again, you don't need to believe what you perceive to be me on this. It will be seen to be so. You choose peace, you choose love, you choose grace, then be prepared to let all of your beliefs go. And they all stem from the one mistaken belief in separation, the belief that you are the body-mind. May seem like a tough call at the human level, especially if you've gone through lots and lots of conditioning, which most of us have. And particularly if you've had certain backgrounds to do with faiths and religions and so forth, beliefs can be thrust upon you and you can take them on board as your own. But all beliefs are not original to you. All beliefs are not original to you. And you don't need to believe me on that. They all come from this sense of separation. Pam saying, thank you for your thoughts and insight. It's most helpful. You're welcome, Pam. I'll just say that they're insights as opposed to thoughts. The reason I want to just pick up on that might seem, on the face of it, a little odd. But you see, there's a vast difference between thought and insight. Thought is the stuff that's going on up here all the time, the kind of constant chatter that comes actually from identification with the body-mind. Insight comes from the infinite awareness itself, and it's available to us all. It is much different in its sense. It is a higher energy. It is as high. It's an inviting, expansive joyful, uplifting, enlightening energy. Thought, on the other hand, is contracting, compressing, suffering. Big difference. So that's why I just picked up on those two words there. And it's not about believing, as I say, anything that I say. It's about realizing what you already know. There's nothing ultimately for you to learn about self-realization. Nothing at all. It can only be realized. It can only be realized. And whilst what I'm sharing can appear to be, as they sometimes call it in some traditions, particularly in things like Buddhism and so forth, teachings, and people get called spiritual teachers, really that's an incorrect term. It is all a realization. It's all a realization. If you're having aha moments with anything that's being shared here, or indeed anything in life, the reason it's an aha moment is because you already knew. You've just allowed it to be realized. Like that. So if any of this is resonating with you, it's because you actually already know. You do. You may not yet give yourself credit for that, but you do. Pam's also adding, it's a real challenge to decondition. And yeah, I completely understand what you're saying there, Pam. It certainly is experienced like that. I think anybody who has realized the self would have to accept that there were challenges on that path. However, and I really need to kind of emphasize this for you, the fact that it is experienced as a challenge is also a belief that it is a challenge. It is also, and that's a belief that I've got something to lose by letting go of this identification, this belief that I am the body-mind. See, that's the ego doing a double bluff with you. It believes it has something to lose, that you have something to lose by realizing the self. And in truth, you have nothing to lose. You will only realize that which you truly are, which is the infinite awareness. I had heard of a story, and I don't know if it's true, but in any event, the pointing in it is accurate. The Buddha was asked, what did he gain by enlightenment? I think it was something like that, the question, or, and he said, actually, I didn't gain anything, and this is using this loose word, what I lost was the suffering, the emotion, the pain, the stress, the strain. These are things worth letting go of. And the reason he didn't gain anything is because that which we are all seeking, that which the Buddha realized, is that which we all already are. You may think of the Buddha as somebody very special, but the Buddha would tell you, and again, you don't need to believe me on this, is that which was realized by the one that we call the Buddha is in fact that which you already are. In many ways, and indeed every way, the greatest arrogance of the ego is to tell the story that you're not that and believe it. It's incredible. That is the ultimate arrogance. It's trying to tell you you're not the entirety, and we believe it. Because it's so fearful of losing its identity. And yet, we choose peace, this belief must go, must be dissolved. Belief in belief, the root of suffering, all of it, to be faced. And so yes, we will experience it as challenges until we're prepared to trust that which is beyond belief. And then, as time goes by and as the moment is ripe, that will appear to be less and less challenging. It gets easier and easier, and you trust and trust until you get to the point where, as I say, you experience the highest form of trust, which is the knowing and the realizing. But it's okay. If it's been experiencing a challenge, just accept that there's a challenge here, embrace it, feel it, witness and trust. And eventually that sense of challenge will gradually dissolve, along with the emotional energy and beliefs behind it. And there will be a lightness, a deeper peace, a deeper awareness. There. That's all. And it comes eventually down, and here's another live stream that people might want. I hope I'll remember all these that I did. And I can't remember what number it is, so I'll have to dig it out. But it's called Effortless Grace. You see, ultimately this process of spiritual self-realization is effortless. We start putting effort in at first by adopting spiritual practices, and it feels effortful at first. But eventually, as we open up and trust, it becomes effortless. It becomes effortless. And why is it effortless? Because we collectively are already this, and there's nothing that you have to do to be this. And so we step on the journey of trust. We take stepping stones and eventually realize the highest form, as I've said several times now, of trust is the knowing. It is not having to trust at all. It's realizing you are already this. Tara Wood is saying, I was having a real challenge surrendering myself to the universe. You have given me insight on trusting. Well, I'm delighted to hear that, Tara. And I just want to reinforce the point I was making a minute or two back, is that the reason that's resonating for you is because you already knew this. And surrendering oneself to the universe is eventually the realizing you non-personally are the universe. We collectively all, even the blade of grass is that. I have several videos, by the way, Tara, on trust, and one of the most common ones that have had the biggest impact on a lot of people is called Trusting and Daring Not To. And I'll try to remember to put that in the notes as well. So I've got Livestream 11, Being a Mirror to Truth, Effortless Grace, and Trusting, Daring Not To. 4. Hopefully I'll remember those 4. So that's pretty much it for me, folks. That's all I was going to say here today, to recognize and be open to what can be challenging at the human level, that our beliefs is what have to go. Not only that, beliefs in belief. And you don't need to believe a word I say. How good is that? Because you will see. It will be seen. And it won't require belief. The root of suffering is belief. End of. That which you are seeking is that which you already are. The infinite silence, the infinite consciousness, the infinite awareness. And yet it's expressed in infinite variety. Simply be still and know. Good. Namaste. Wherever you're watching in the world, whatever time it is in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening. Flip Wade here, Universal Studio, North Yorkshire, England. This is a dedicated and purpose-built space for self-realization events that we have at our home. Very blessed. It's fantastic. Well, maybe one day I'll give you a tour around it, but I'm sat here at the moment and it's difficult to move the laptop, but it's very good. It's very beautiful. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend wherever you are. I'll dig out, in fact, I'll try and dig out some of those now whilst we're still on the stream. Just if you bear with me, may as well do that. So live stream 11. There it is. Right. So if this is being shared by watch parties, it will have to be added into the watch party comments. So that's live stream 11 gone up first. Oh, I didn't put the title in. Put being a mirror to truth. There, that's that one. Oops. Get the link. I'll put the title in this one. Being a mirror to truth. That's two of them. What else did I say? Trusting and daring not to, I think, was one. Oh, Effortless Grace, that was the next one. Effortless. I'll put that one on. So, Effortless Grace. Edit, paste. And then trusting and daring not to. There we go. And put that one in as well. Trusting and daring not to. The first three are all quite long, it has to be said, but well worth it if you really want to. And they all include meditations, which I'm not going to do today. The last one, Trusting and Daring Not To, is only 5 minutes. So if you want a quick watch after this, you can watch that one first. So I think that was it in terms of the other resources I've got there. So if anybody shared this on a watch party, you can pick up those links from my page, which is the mainstream location. But I think this is also going to my YouTube channel, and also I think to the Endless Peace and Love group. And I think there's at least 1 or 2 watch parties been set up as well. So, and if we're lucky, I'm just going to see if we can do this. Oh no, I don't know if this will work. It might do. Okay, I think we're done. I was just going to see if there's any more comments. I don't see any more comments coming up. So I think what I'm going to do is say namaste, many blessings, have a great weekend wherever you are. And what I'm going to try and do is play some harp music to go out. I don't know, the stream might cut out at this point, I'm not sure, but if we're lucky, we'll get a couple of minutes of harp before it closes. And if you do, the track is called Seeking by my friend Tara Cook. Oh, and one final thing, Tara and her husband Ken and myself are planning a live stream for the winter solstice. We're in the northern hemisphere, it would be the summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. And that we'll either do it on the actual solstice itself, which is the 21st of December, or possibly the Sunday. It depends on availability. So look out for that. We'll be posting news of that on my page and the Endless Peace and Love group. I don't know if I can post it on my YouTube channel, but I'll stream it. What I'm going to do is stream it to all the same locations. So look out for that. We'll be going to be doing a sounds and silence meditation. So there'll be me guiding a meditation, and there'll be some beautiful sound bath work that Tara and Ken do. It's fantastic. So I'm going to see if I can leave you with some harp. Bye now. Namaste. So it looks like that's worked. So you'll get about a couple of minutes of this, and I'll close the stream after that. Bye now, everybody. Closing the stream shortly. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for listening. Philip Wade here from the Universal Studio, signing off. Bye now.